The noisy laughter in the fellowship room continued to filter into the lounge. Alcohol, soda, and the sweet fruity smell were mixed together, making people feel tight in their chests. My back was lightly pressed against the cold wall, and my fingertips were caressing the corners of my clothes unconsciously. The throbbing that had been hidden in my heart for 4 years almost burst out of the ground at this moment. The social gathering was coming to an end, and the people outside left in groups chatting and laughing in 2s and 3s, and only 3 people were left in the huge lounge. John is recognized as the heartthrob of the whole school. He has a clean and elegant appearance and a gentle and reserved personality. He is the secret crush of the entire grade, and even all the girls in the school. It is also an obsession that I have hidden in my heart for 4 years and never expressed it to my mouth. Lin Jixia, who was drunk and leaning on the sofa, was a girl who had frequently appeared next to John in the past 6 months. She had a flamboyant temperament and acted boldly and unscrupulously, which was completely opposite to me, who was always quiet and reserved. The last one is me. The originally lively lounge fell silent instantly, and the remaining noise outside the door became blurry and soft through the door panel. Everyone deliberately set aside space for solitude, and they were trying to bring John and I together, covertly or covertly. Everyone in the circle knew that I had liked him for 4 years, blatantly favoring him and carefully accommodating him, except John, who always pretended to know nothing. A few classmates who had not gone far poked their heads into the doorframe, laughed and made noises, and proposed the last social game, which was also the default matchmaking game for everyone. Finally, we will play a small game. Who can guess John's favorite fruit? In the next week's off-campus camping, we will directly team up with John. We will be an exclusive partner, and we will be bound for the whole journey. The moment these words fell, I could clearly feel countless eyes falling on me, with ridicule, expectation, and determination. Everyone felt that this was an opportunity tailor-made for me, an opportunity for my 4-year crush to finally come true. I lowered my eyelashes, suppressed the anticipation and nervousness surging in my heart, pretended to be careless, and took half a step back, and took the initiative to give up the position in front of me. I don't want to seem impatient. I don't want this feeling that I've been hiding for 4 years to become a topic of conversation after dinner, and I don't want to force John into a dilemma. I habitually give in and accommodate. This is the humility that has been engraved in my bones since I have liked him for 4 years. Let her choose first. I spoke softly, my tone flat, and without any emotion. Lin Jixia, who was sitting on the sofa, raised her eyes slowly, feeling lazily and relaxedly drunk. She held a half-burned cigarette between her fingertips. The sparks were weak and shone like tiny spots of light in the dim lounge. She raised her hand and pointed casually but firmly to the platter of cut fresh fruits placed in the center of the table. She opened her red lips lightly and uttered 2 words. Mango. The moment I heard these 2 words, my heart, which had been tense for a long time, suddenly relaxed. My heavy thoughts suddenly fell to the ground, and even my breathing became lighter. I know it all too well. John is severely allergic to mangoes. It is a real allergen. If he touches a single bite, he will be covered in red rash. In severe cases, he will go into shock and be sent to the hospital. This matter is not a secret. Everyone in the circle who plays together knows it in their hearts. At every party, team building, or dinner, everyone will subconsciously avoid all foods related to mangoes. No one will mention it, no one will touch it, and no one will choose mango as his favorite. Lin Jixia was drunk and she guessed wrong. This means that this answer that no one can get wrong will only fall into my hands in the end, and the spot in this camping team will only be mine. The crowd outside the door frame instantly exploded, and the laughter and banter filled the entire lounge, making people's eardrums burn with excitement. It's stable. It's definitely stable now. The school's flowers match the flowers, and they look so beautiful. It's a match made in heaven. My 4-year crush has finally come to an end, and I have to make it real today. My best friend squeezed through the crowd and came to me, lowered her voice. Her tone was full of sincere joy for me. Her eyebrows were crooked, and her eyes were full of happy smiles. Sway, sway, that's great. You have had a crush on him for 4 years, and carefully guarded him for 4 years. Now you've finally got what you wanted. The corners of my mouth curled up slightly, and all the sourness, anxiety, humiliation, and expectation that had accumulated in my heart for 4 years turned into gentle sweetness at this moment. I have even begun to subconsciously imagine the camping time in the next week, the image of walking side by side with him, spending time together day and night, and the image of this secret love finally coming to an end. Everyone believed that the answer had been decided, and the ending had been decided. John and I were settled and happy in both directions. But the next second, a warm and quiet voice that I had listened to for 4 years, an extremely gentle voice, suddenly overshadowed the noisy commotion in the room. It was clear and powerful, hitting my ears without missing a word, and instantly froze all my joy and expectations. What a coincidence! John slowly opened his slender and clean palms. His posture was upright, his eyebrows were gentle, and he looked as gentle as ever. But his eyes did not fall on me, and he did not look at me, who was full of joy and waiting for the ending. Instead, his eyes fell directly on Lin Jixia, who was full of drunkenness. Those eyes that I had peeked at for 4 years, had always been cold and indifferent, and had never shown any warmth to me, were now filled with indulgence, tenderness, and preference that I had never seen before, so intense that they almost overflowed. The one I chose also happens to be Mango. The air was instantly dead. All the cheers, laughter, and teasing outside the door suddenly stopped. The lounge, which had been lively just a moment ago, was suddenly so quiet that an audible drop of blood could be heard, and an atmosphere of embarrassment, astonishment, and shock hung over everyone's heads. The smiles on everyone's faces froze, and their gazes suddenly shifted from me to John and Lin Jixia with unbelievable astonishment. As I stood there, the blood all over my body suddenly froze, and everything from my fingertips to my limbs became completely cold in an instant. My heart seemed to be tightly grasped by an invisible hand, kneading and crushing it hard. A dense, dull pain swept through my body, and the feeling of suffocation was overwhelming. There was no heartbreaking collapse, no crying gaffe, just a moment of blankness and a coldness that penetrated into the bone marrow. I clearly remember that during the class team building 3 years ago, someone accidentally brought mango dessert. Just a little mango smell in the air, John's neck quickly developed a large red rash. His breathing became rapid, and he almost suffocated and fainted. I clearly remember that at his birthday party 2 years ago, someone offered him a piece of mango cake as a joke. His face instantly turned pale, and he stepped back to avoid it, clearly informing everyone that he was severely allergic and would not eat it for life. I clearly remember that just last month, when our community had a dinner, the waiters served mango sago. He immediately frowned and stopped and repeatedly told everyone to change it without touching a bite. He is allergic to mangoes so severely that his life is at risk. There's no way he likes mangoes. He did it on purpose. He clearly knows the correct answer. He clearly knows that Lin Jixia got the answer wrong. He clearly knows that everyone is trying to match me up with him. He clearly knows that I have been secretly in love with him for 4 years. And he clearly knows that I am full of joyful expectations at this moment. But he overturned all the established facts in front of everyone, publicly favored the erring Lin Jixia, broke my 4-year secret love in public, and gave me the most honorable and cruel betrayal in public. Gentleness is fake. Gentleness is pretending. Silence is deliberate alienation. And ignorance is deliberately pretending to be stupid. It's not that he doesn't understand my thoughts, my preferences, or my humbleness. He just never liked me. Not only did he not like it, but he personally crushed my expectations under the spotlight, made me the biggest joke in the audience, and personally used the gentlest way to give me the most extreme embarrassment. Lin Jixia's drunken eyes suddenly lit up, and a lazy smile crept onto her brows. She stood up on the sofa, walked to John with empty steps, raised her hand, and gently took his arm. Her movements were natural and intimate, with an unabashed show-off and winner's attitude. She turned her head to look at me. Most of the drunkenness in her eyes had faded away, replaced by clear pride, provocation, and contempt, and a flamboyant and sharp smile appeared at the corner of her mouth. So that's it. It seems like I'm lucky. She deliberately raised her voice so that everyone present could hear her words clearly, and her words were heartbreaking. I thought I was wrong. After all, everyone said that John is allergic to mangoes. It seems they are all rumors. Also, you have been so close to him every year, but you don't know him as well as I do. It seems that all your efforts in the past 4 years have been in vain. This sentence was like a sharp blade, piercing straight into my heart, stirring repeatedly, tearing cleanly the remaining dignity I had. I understood completely in an instant. Lin Jixia was not drunk at all. She was pretending to be drunk. She clearly knew that John was allergic to mangoes and knew that this answer was wrong. But she deliberately chose mangoes, deliberately betting that John would favor her, indulge her, and break all bottom lines for her. And John really did what she wished for. At this moment, I completely saw all the truth behind this public betrayal, and I completely locked onto the only ultimate villain in this farce, John. Lin Jixia's provocation was superficial, straightforward, and outwardly malicious. She was just vain, flamboyant, and loved to fight and enjoy the pleasure of crushing me. But John's evil is deep, hypocritical, extremely selfish, and rotten viciousness hidden under the skin of gentleness. He is the leader, planner, and promoter of the entire embarrassing farce. He is the culprit who personally destroyed my feelings for 4 years and trampled on my dignity in public. He clearly had all the initiative. He could have rejected me gently, ended with dignity, pushed me away tactfully, and he could have preserved my dignity quietly, but he chose the cruelest, most public, and most hurtful way. He enjoyed my 4 years of unconditional preference and dedication, and accepted all my accommodations, help, and explanations with peace of mind. He never refused or responded, hanging on to my feelings and consuming my sincerity. When I was about to get what I wanted and have a status, he did not hesitate to backhand me in public, stepping on my dignity to fulfill another girl's vanity and using my embarrassment to pave the way for his ambiguous and tender relationship with Lin Jixia. He didn't have any difficulties, he didn't have any inability to do anything, and he didn't have anything to hide. From the beginning to the end, it is just pure selfishness, pure hypocrisy, pure enjoyment of being sought after by others, and pure enjoyment of controlling everyone's thoughts and feelings of superiority. He knows all the truth, but he still chooses to hurt others maliciously, still chooses to betray in public, and still chooses to trample on his sincerity. This is bad to the core, and there's no need to clean up, and cannot be forgiven. The whispers around me slowly started to sound, and the thin, probing, and lively sounds penetrated into my ears, densely packed, like countless fine needles pricking my skin repeatedly. It turns out that John likes Lin Jixia. Didn't you just hitch and sway on the face on purpose? It was too embarrassing. I have been secretly in love for 4 years, been rejected in public, and still got slapped in the face like this. Anyone else would be crushed. I thought they were stable before, but now it seems we are just being selfish and others don't appreciate it at all. My best friend stood next to me, her face instantly pale, her eyes filled with distress and shock. She subconsciously wanted to step forward to defend me and help me save what little dignity I had left. I raised my hand and gently pressed her arm, stopping all her words. I didn't cry, I didn't lose my composure. I didn't feel aggrieved and collapsed. I didn't have any internal conflict. I didn't have any entanglement or hesitation, and I didn't have any half-hearted nostalgia. For years of secret love, the moment he opened his mouth to choose Mango was completely invalidated, completely cleared, and completely dead. All those careful rushes, silent efforts, joyful expectations, and tenderness hidden in his heart were all reduced to nothing at the moment he trampled on her in public, leaving only bone-chilling coldness and absolute hatred. I raised my eyes with calm eyes, looking straight at the two people standing side by side in front of me, and at John's gentle and hypocritical face. He noticed my gaze and tilted his head slightly. There was no guilt, apology, or intolerance in his eyes, only a hint of innocent alienation, as if the person who had just crushed my 4 years of love in public and made me a joke was never him. He even slightly raised the corners of his lips towards me, maintaining his usual gentle gentleman persona, and spoke softly with a tone that was so calm as to be cruel. Sway, I'm sorry, the answer is Mango. My camping partner is Jixia. A gentle apology conveyed 4 years of my sincerity, smoothing away his malicious intention of hurting others in public. I tried to use an innocuous, polite word to gently remove this extreme betrayal and embarrassment. Lin Jixia became more and more proud, holding his arm tightly, raising her chin, blatantly showing off her victory. Her tone was pampering and harsh. Then I will trouble John a lot during the next week of camping. Sway, next time you have a chance, you can try again. I looked at their dazzling looks, and there was no emotion, no sourness, no unwillingness, no sadness in my heart, just a completely frozen silence. I always thought that John's gentleness was nature, kindness, and gentleness. It wasn't until this moment that I finally saw clearly that his gentleness was divided between people, his kindness was selective, and his dignity was always reserved for himself and the people he cared about. For me, he only has endless consumption, deliberate alienation, cruel manipulation, and merciless trampling. I didn't say a word of nonsense, didn't defend, didn't pester, didn't question, and didn't humble myself. I just looked back lightly, turned around, straightened my back, and walked out of this extremely embarrassing lounge calmly. The noise, ambiguity, whispers, and joy of the winter behind me were all shut behind me. When I walked out of the party venue, the evening breeze blew in my face, blowing away the dull smell of alcohol and fruit in the room, and completely blowing away all my obsessions and pursuits for the past 4 years. From this moment on, I no longer liked John. Love is reduced to zero. Good feelings are nullified. Obsessions are cut off, and all that is left is liquidation. He likes to pretend to be gentle, pretend to be a gentleman, pretend to be innocent, likes to favor other people's sincere enjoyment, likes to trample on the dignity of others in public to achieve his own charm, likes to be selfish, manipulate people's hearts, and act hypocritically. Then I will personally tear apart all his masks, shatter all his personas, overthrow all his sense of superiority, and let him personally taste what it feels like to be slapped in the face in public, to be spurned by everyone, to have nothing, and to fall off the altar. I never feel inwardly, never get entangled, and never feel soft-hearted. If you really make a wrong payment, then stop the loss in time. If someone betrays you, you will repay him 100-fold. If someone slaps you in the face, then make a complete comeback. If he wants to act in this scene, I will accompany him to the end. However, the control of the ending is firmly in my hands from this moment on. When I returned to the dormitory, I deleted the thousands of profile photos of him that I had secretly saved for 4 years in the photo album, deleted the trivial thoughts and crushes recorded day after day in the memos, and deleted all the gift lists and confessions I had prepared for him, but never sent. I cleared away all traces related to him, cleared away all remaining tenderness and thoughts, leaving no room or regret. My best friend followed me all the way, full of anger and resentment, and kept complaining for me. Sway, he's gone too far. Everyone knows that he is allergic to mangoes, and he said that deliberately to humiliate you. And Lin Jixia, it is clear that he is deliberately provoking, and they are teaming up to bully you. 4 years of sincerity are enough to feed a dog, and the dog will still wag its tail. John is not worthy at all. Don't be sad. This kind of person is not worth it. I sat in front of the desk and opened the computer smoothly with my fingertips. The light of the screen reflected in my eyes. There was no grievance at all, only the ultimate calmness and clear layout. I'm not sad. I spoke softly, with an indifferent and decisive tone. I just want them to pay a full price for what they did today. I used to like him, and I was willing to accommodate him, give in for him, be humble for him, and be patient for him. Now that my love has dissipated and only the cold sobriety remains, I will no longer give him any decency, condone his hypocrisy, or tolerate any malice from him. I know John so well. I have liked him for 4 years, silently observed him for 4 years, helped him deal with his messes for 4 years, covered up his dirty stuff for 4 years, and know all his weaknesses, all his secrets, all his hypocrisy, and all his unknown dirty tricks. What everyone sees is the perfect persona he has carefully created. A top school official who is gentle, clean, gentleman, cool, dedicated, gentle, and self-disciplined. But what I saw was the corruption and selfishness beneath his character. While he was enjoying my all-round efforts and revelations for 4 years with peace of mind, he was secretly interested in the favor of countless girls, had constant ambiguities, and kept countless fish. While he was portraying a cool and self-disciplined academic figure, he was copying homework, buying papers, and bribing class committee members to increase his grades in private. In the past 4 years, because I liked him, I was willing to hide things for him, clean up his mess, protect his character, and stop all rumors for him. Now that he has crushed my sincerity and trampled on my dignity in public, there is no need for me to cover up for him. I want to personally tear down all his disguises and let everyone in the school see clearly how selfish, hypocritical, cold, and vicious this top school bastard is under his gentle skin. There are still 3 days left before the off-campus camping organized by the school. In the past 3 days, John and Lin Jixia have completely dominated all the hot topics on campus. Campus forums, friend circles, and grade groups all over the internet are full of ambiguous rumors about the two of them, and there are ridiculing and blessings for them everywhere. Hashtag John Lin Jixia to a rush to hashtag Jinghao Xuecao, Xinqing Jinghao Jinghaoren Go Dingqing Songdong Hun Jinghao's entries continue to top the list of hot searches on campus forums, and their popularity remains high. Everyone was praising John for being gentle and dedicated. Everyone was complaining about the atmosphere between the two of them, and everyone was acknowledging that I was the sentimental and wishful joke in this farce. Lin Jixia is extremely high profile and frequently posts various ambiguous updates on moments and social platforms, accompanied by various deliberately created atmospheric copywriting, secretly showing off her affection, and enjoying the sense of victory that attracts the attention of the whole school. Countless people follow suit and praise her, bringing her to the forefront. John acquiesced throughout the whole process without denying or clarifying. He allowed public opinion to ferment, allowed everyone to smear me and belittle me, and allowed everyone to tout his and Lin Jixia's magical love. He even occasionally likes and comments on Lin Jixia's posts and cooperates with her acting, gradually confirming the ambiguous relationship between the two and completely confirming my embarrassing situation. Countless rumors and rumors came to me. Some people mocked me for being sentimental. Some people teased me for being ungrateful. Some people slander me for stalking me. Some people said that I was annoying because I had been pestering the school idol for 4 years. I remained silent throughout the entire process, without any excuses, responses, entanglements, or internal conflicts. Everyone thought that I had completely given up, that I was completely defeated by this public betrayal, and could only silently endure all the grievances and ridicules. Only I know that I am just laying low, silently collecting all the evidence, and waiting for the most suitable, explosive, and fatal final stage. In the past 3 days, I have sorted out solid evidence about all of John's false characters for 4 years. It is clear, interlocking, ironclad, and has no loopholes. I sorted out all the transaction records, chat screenshots, and transfer records of him buying final papers for 2 consecutive years, hiring people to write homework for him, and spending money to improve his grades. I sorted out all the transaction records, screenshots of chats, and transfers. I also sorted out that he had long-term ambiguous chats with multiple girls at the same time, cultivated fish and fisheries, and deliberately toyed with other people's true feelings. All the chat records of XIN were compiled. A complete set of evidence was compiled showing that he backstabbed classmates, snatched competition spots, bribed student union officials, and secretly manipulated merit evaluation, and compiled numerous audio and video recordings of his private words and deeds that were inconsistent, double-faced, and hypocritical and self-serving. In addition, I also accurately retained the most fatal core evidence, all the real evidence, of his severe mango allergy. The allergy medical records of the team building 3 years ago, the live video of the birthday party 2 years ago, the full video of the community dinner last month, the real name testimonies of many classmates, and the medical records of the school doctor's office are all completely preserved, and the layers are closed and cannot be repudiated. I want to prove that his choice that day was not a coincidence, not a preference, not sincere, but a naked, deliberate, and malicious act of hurting others in public. It was an extremely selfish act of lying, deceiving, and subverting the facts in order to humiliate me and help others. 3 days later, the off-campus group camping activities started on time. The whole grade participated, and there were a large number of people at the scene. Teachers, students, and student union officials were all present. It was the public event that attracted the most attention and the widest exposure in the school. It was also the ultimate stage for John and Lin Jixia to announce their official ambiguity from a high-profile team and enjoy the spotlight. From the moment they signed in at the beginning of the camp, John and Lin Jixia stayed together throughout the whole process. They walked side by side, partnered in activities, and cooperated tacitly. They deliberately created an ambiguous atmosphere in every move, sprinkled sugar in a high-profile manner throughout the process, and accepted blessings from everyone watching. Lin Jixia smiled brightly throughout the whole process, with the pride of a winner on her face. From time to time, she deliberately looked towards me, blatantly showing off provocation and enjoying the pleasure of crushing me. John still maintains his character of a gentle schoolboy. He is gentle, accommodating, patient, and tolerant. He indulges Lin Jixia to the fullest. He brings his affectionate and dedicated perfect image to the extreme, winning the favor and praise of everyone in the room. The opening speech of the event, the announcement of the team formation, the game interaction, and the warm-up of the bonfire party, all links are deliberately designed to heighten the ambiguous atmosphere between the two. Everyone is waiting for the two to make a complete official announcement, waiting for the two-way rush that has been hotly discussed on the internet to come to a successful conclusion. Everyone agreed that today was the highlight day for John and Lin Jixia, and it was the embarrassing day when I completely bowed out and became a background. No one knows that this much-anticipated bonfire party is the ultimate crematorium that I carefully selected for them. As night fell, the bonfire was lit, and the orange-red fire danced throughout the camp, warm and warm, illuminating everyone's faces. All the teachers and students of the school sat around the bonfire. The atmosphere was warm, and everyone was paying attention. The cameras, mobile phones, and flashlights were all pointed at the center stage. According to the event process, the last part is free speech, talent display, and heartfelt confession. It is also the most popular and widely watched finale tonight. The host held the microphone, smiled, and lifted the atmosphere of the audience, and took advantage of the situation to lead the topic to the mango love affair that was hotly discussed on the internet, deliberately heightening the atmosphere between John and Lin Jixia. Everyone's been talking about the fate of mango lately. Our best partners, John and Lin Jixia, are also here today. Why don't we share this special fate with you? The whole place was in an uproar, with applause and cheers coming one after another. Everyone was cheering, cracking candies, and looking forward to the official announcement. Lin Jixia smiled brightly and pushed John shyly, her eyes full of eagerness. John stood up with an upright posture and warm brows. The firelight fell on his face, making him softer, cleaner, and impeccably perfect. He took the microphone and habitually turned on his gentleman persona. His tone was gentle and affectionate, and he deliberately created an affectionate atmosphere. He was ready to announce their relationship in public, completely confirming the scandals all over the internet, and pushing his perfect and affectionate persona to the top. Actually, I never had a deliberate preference. It just happened to be her who chose the mango that day, so I was willing to prefer her choice. A single word, extremely romantic, extremely affectionate, and extremely gentle, instantly set off the whole audience. Cheers, screams, and applause resounded throughout the camp, and the heat was instantly heightened. Everyone lamented that he was gentle and dedicated. Everyone envied Lin Jixia for being favored, and everyone felt that this was the most romantic two-way relationship. Lin Jixia's eyes were red, and she looked at him pretending to be moved, completely immersed in the much-anticipated victory and romance. At the moment when others were planning to reach the top, when everyone was praising me and public opinion was at its peak, I stood up slowly, calmly, and unhurriedly. I didn't scream, cry, hysteria, or complain. I stood upright and had a cool aura. In the midst of the noise in the sky, I spoke softly. My voice was clear and transparent, steadily overpowering the cheers of the audience and reaching everyone's ears clearly. There is no need to be deliberately romantic, no need to force affection, no need to make up fate. The cheers in the audience suddenly stopped, and the noisy camp was instantly silent. Everyone's eyes fell on me, and they were stunned, curious, and shocked. The whole place was enveloped in an instant. The affectionate smile on John's face froze instantly, and the tenderness in his eyes suddenly faded, replaced by a trace of unexpected panic and sinisterness. He stared at me, a sharp warning flashing in his eyes. I ignored all his warnings and pressures, ignored the gazes of everyone in the room, spoke in a calm and indifferent tone, cut my heart with every word, slapped his face accurately, and tore apart all his hypocrisy in public. You don't like Mango. You lied deliberately to favor her. You don't just have a preference. You want to humiliate me in public and trample on my sincerity, and you don't hesitate to reverse the facts and act falsely. You are severely allergic to mangoes. You will get sick if you touch it, and you'll be in danger if you eat it by mistake. This is a fact known to the whole school. There are school medical records, medical files, and countless people have witnessed it with their own eyes. The moment I finished speaking, I raised my hand and clicked on the large public screen in the camp that had been connected in advance. The next second, all the irrefutable evidence was displayed simultaneously on the large screen, which was clear, complete, intuitive, and irrefutable. Videos of the allergy scene of the team building 3 years ago, medical registration records, a video of the entire birthday party 2 years ago, a live video of the club dinner last month, an allergy diagnosis report archived by the school doctor's office, and screenshots of more than a dozen classmates' real name testimonies were all densely covered on the big screen. Every piece of evidence accurately crushed his lies. The teachers and students in the audience were stunned and exploded in an instant. The sweet smiles on everyone's faces shattered and were replaced by unbelievable shock and uproar. It was only at this moment that everyone finally understood that there was no romantic preference or fate at all. From beginning to end, it was just a farce carefully planned by him to humiliate me in public. He was obviously allergic, knew clearly, and could have ended the matter with dignity, but he lied in public, chose Lin Jixia, who made the mistake, used the gentlest gesture to cause me the most extreme embarrassment, and used my 4 years of sincerity to fulfill my own deep love and fulfill the vanity of others. John's face instantly turned pale, and his whole body became stiff. The fingers holding the microphone suddenly tightened, and his knuckles turned white. The gentle, affectionate, clean gentleman persona he had carefully maintained for 4 years completely cracked a huge gap at this moment. He spoke in a panic, trying to defend himself. I just remembered it wrong. It was just a joke. I didn't give him any chance to clear his name or redeem his character. I continued to deliver precise results, peeling off layers of skin, completely tearing apart all his disguises. I slapped him in the face with high energy throughout the whole process, and the climax scenes continued to be full. Remember it wrong? I chuckled. My tone was cold and biting. Then the 4 years of your academic, gentle, and dedicated persona. Are you remembering them all wrong? My fingertips swiped, and the large screens switched instantly. A large amount of black evidence was played in turn, which made him completely unable to stand up. A full set of transaction screenshots, chat records, and payment flows showing that he paid to have his assignments written for him, purchased final papers at high prices, and transferred money to someone to improve his grade points clearly popped up on the screen. The timeline was clear, the amount was clear, and the conversations were complete. The evidence was solid. Immediately afterwards, there were screenshots of the complete chat records in which he had been ambiguously chatting with multiple girls at the same time for a long time, fishing and raising fish, speaking ambiguously, and deliberately toying with the sincerity of others. Every word and every word confirmed his hypocrisy and affection, completely overturning his single-minded and affectionate persona. What then popped up were all the audio and video evidence of him backstabbing his classmates, snatching competition spots, bribing student union officials, secretly manipulating merit evaluations, and stepping on others to gain the upper hand. All of his selfish and dirty operations were clearly recorded. My cold voice echoed throughout the entire camp through the microphone. Every word was clear and powerful, and I completely liquidated all his evil deeds in public. You externally create a top-notch school character who is cool, self-disciplined, gentle, clean, dedicated, and motivated, and enjoys being sought after by the whole school, favored by teachers, and praised by classmates. Copying assignments, buying papers, brushing off grades, taking shortcuts, opportunistically cheating, stealing resources, and backstabbing peers. While you can enjoy my 4 years of unconditional dedication, cover-up, and preference with peace of mind, you are also hanging on to the favor of countless people, having constant ambiguities, raising countless fish, and playing with other sincerity. You are clearly informed, clearly sober, and could have ended the matter with dignity, but you lied in public, betrayed me in public, and trampled on my feelings in public, just to satisfy your false sense of superiority and fulfill the vanity of others. You are not gentle. You are extremely selfish. You are not affectionate. You are extremely hypocritical. You are not innocent. You are deliberately hurting others. Every word struck his Achilles heel with precision, and every piece of evidence completely shattered his halo. The whole place was in an uproar, with uproar, discussions, photos, and videos coming one after another. Everyone could see clearly the rotten insides of his top school bastard's gentle skin. The crowd that had been full of praises and crazily eating sweets just now suddenly turned around, and the whole place was filled with voices of disdain, contempt, and shock. Oh my God. So he is this kind of person? His personality is all fake. It's so disgusting. While enjoying other people's efforts for 4 years, you humiliate them in public, playing with your sincerity. I'm allergic and deliberately chose mangoes. It's obvious that I'm deliberately slapping Shin Sui Sui in the face. He's so vicious. She cheats to increase her grades, buys papers, and stabs her classmates in the back. This character is absolutely terrible. Before, I thought he was gentle and dedicated, but now it seems that it was all an act, and he was so hypocritical. The pride and shyness on Lin Jixia's face completely disappeared in an instant. Her face was as pale as paper, her whole body was shaking violently, her hands and feet were cold, and she couldn't stand still for an instant. Her proud victory, preference for showing off in a high-profile manner, and the ambiguity that attracts everyone's attention instantly became the biggest joke in the room. In an instant, she went from an envied winner to a clown who was ridiculed, despised, and treated as a joke. All her vanity and sense of superiority collapsed in an instant. John was completely panicked and completely devastated. The perfect persona he had maintained for 4 years was completely shattered into pieces at this moment. For years of aura, reputation, popularity, and favorability were all wiped out in an instant. From the top school idol that everyone sought after, he instantly became a hypocritical villain that everyone despised. He could no longer maintain the illusion of a gentle gentleman. His eyes were full of evil, panic, rage, and panic. He stared at me, and his voice was tight and filled with suppressed hostility. Shin Sui Sui, that's enough. Shut up. He tried to step forward and turn off the big screen, trying to prevent me from continuing to expose, trying to save what little decency was left. I turned sideways and calmly avoided his movements, and my tone was indifferent and emotionless, without any wavering or weakness. I'm not enough. When you publicly trampled on my sincerity for 4 years and made me the laughingstock of the whole school, why didn't you think that enough was enough? When you relied on false persona, opportunism, played with people's hearts, and stepped on others to get to the top, why didn't you think of leaving room for it? From the moment you chose to lie, betray, and humiliate me in public, you should have expected the ending of today's total destruction. I didn't give him any chance to make a comeback. I sent all the complete and closed-loop evidence packages to the school's academic affairs office, student affairs office, discipline inspection department, and all counselors on the spot. I also uploaded them to campus forums, all major grade groups in the school, and social platforms. The evidence is made public simultaneously across the entire network, completely solidified and cannot be deleted, tampered with, laundered, or denied. The situation was completely out of control, and the public opinion of the whole school exploded instantly. The topic reached the top overnight, completely sweeping the entire campus, and even the campus circles in the same city. The school's discipline inspection department intervened in the investigation overnight to verify all evidence. The entire process was open and transparent without any favoritism. The final reckoning will be extremely tragic, never lenient, never repeated, never whitewashed, never reconciled. The ultimate villain, John, as the leader and initiator of the entire betrayal, humiliation, and farce, bears the heaviest punishment. After official verification by the school, he was found guilty of academic fraud, misconduct, malicious manipulation of other people's emotions, corrupting the campus atmosphere, and violation of the student code. The evidence is conclusive and true. The school issued an official notice on the spot, canceling all his grade points for the academic year, all qualifications for merit evaluation, all scholarship honors, and revoking his position in the student union. The entire school publicly notified the criticism, recorded it in his personal files, and retained it for life. It will accompany him in his studies, employment, and life, and will never be revoked. The persona he had worked so hard for 4 years as a top student, the school's aura, and his gentle reputation were completely destroyed. He fell from the altar in the clouds into the quagmire and became a hypocritical villain who was spurned and pointed at by everyone in the school. The scenery that was once highly sought after by everyone has been completely wiped out, and there is only contempt and ridicule wherever he goes. He has completely lost all connections in the circle, all favorability, and all resource advantages. In the later period, he tried to restore his reputation, apologized for his misfortune, whitewashed himself, shirked responsibility, blamed all his faults on temporary confusion and youthful impulse, tried to create a deep and unspeakable secret, and tried to win sympathy. But I intercepted all whitewashing remarks throughout the process, released a complete timeline and a complete chain of evidence, completely blocking all his escape routes and making all his whitewashing efforts ineffective. No one can empathize, believe, or forgive. The crematorium of his pursuit of his wife is not a redemption script of gentle redemption, affectionate repentance, and hard work, but the ultimate punishment of not getting what he asked for, being forever in debt, regretting for life, and never being able to come back. From then on, he lived day after day with the evil consequences he had created by his own hands, living with the regret and suffering of having his personality collapsed, his reputation ruined, and having nothing left. He could never make up for it, never let go, and could never be forgiven in the slightest. The accomplice Lin Jixia was vain and money-worshipping, deliberately provocative, dependent on others, stepping on others' dignity to gain power, participated in public humiliation, encouraged ill will, followed trends and built momentum, and consumed the sincerity of others. Although there was no substantive disciplinary violation, he was completely reduced to the laughingstock of the whole school. His reputation was completely bad. His social circle was completely dead. He was blacklisted and isolated from all circles. No one interacted with him. No one trusted him. And no one accepted him. The victory she flaunted in a high-profile manner turned into a lifelong stain. From now on, her campus life will always be in the shadow and ridicule of this farce, and she will no longer have any dignity. All those who had followed the trend to ridicule me, smear me, and watch the commotion have completely shut up. Public opinion has completely reversed. Everyone on the internet has understood the cause and effect. They have seen clearly my sincerity and grievances over the past 4 years, as well as John's hypocrisy and viciousness, and Lin Jixia's vanity and meanness. No one dares to talk about me, slander me, or ridicule me at will anymore. Everyone only has guilt, awe, and respect for me. The storm was completely over. I personally overturned the false chess game John had maintained for 4 years, personally shattered all his aura and sense of superiority, personally liquidated all his selfishness and malice, and personally won back all my dignity and dignity. I don't have any weakness, no entanglement, no regrets, and no thought of reconciliation or forgiveness. Wrong is wrong, betrayal is betrayal, and malice is malice. There are no reasons, no excuses, and no room for redemption. He personally nullified my 4-year pure secret love, personally trampled on my 4-year sincere preference, and personally destroyed my dignity and expectations. Then I will destroy everything about him with my own hands, causing him to bear the consequences for the rest of his life and never be able to turn around. From then on, there was no such humble, secretly in love, cautious, accommodating me in the world. All love has been reduced to zero. Obsessions have been completely cut off. All tenderness has been withdrawn. And all that is left in this life is magnanimity, sharpness, strength, and magnanimity. I cut off the bad guys, got out of the bad situation, cleared up the bad intentions, turned the tables against the wind, and completely got rid of all the internal friction and embarrassment. From then on, I became prosperous, sober, and independent, unstoppable, and shining brightly. As for John, he was trapped in the crematorium of his own creation for the rest of his life. He had no way to ask for regret, no way to ask for forgiveness, and no hope for a comeback. He would always look up to my light, and he would always live in debt and regret, and would never be able to escape.